Hello, Charles County. Welcome to another episode of Let's Get Fiscal, a chance for us to talk about all things related to budget and finance here in Charles County. I'm Doria Fleisher, joined as always by the wonderful Jake Dyer. Jake, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jake, it's Fiscal and Admin Services' favorite time of year? Question mark?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so February 2025, we are where in the budget process?
Correct. So right now we're still going through all our department requests and our partner agencies. We will receive the Board of Education and the College of Maryland's requests at the end of the month.
Okay.
And then once in March, we would also be having more conversations, but we would be looping in the county administrator's office on these conversations. And then near the middle of March into April, we will start presenting budgets to the Board of County Commissioners for fiscal year 26.
Okay, gotcha. And public engagement really comes into play. I know we did an earlier survey, but this is where you start really looking for public feedback on how to build this, yes?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to do another budget survey this month, yeah?
Yes, we
are.
For
the public, it'll be on our Stay Engaged Charles County platform. Mm-hmm. People may have filled the survey out last year. How did you use it? Like, what did you do with that?
So we took that information, and it really helped us near the end of the budget internal discussions to rank our priorities. So in that survey, we noticed that public safety was a high need when it came to the police side. So we used that information, and we were able to fit in additional police officers in the budget. And we were able to fit in, more emergency services positions per se. So we take the information and use it to drive our decisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we want people to fill the budget survey out again, even if you filled it out last year.
Right.
New year, new budget, new information.
And hopefully we get more, because the more people that take it, it's a much larger sample size.
Right.
And then we can truly use that to know that's a true need.
Right. Okay. So it's not just the same people saying the same thing over and over again.
Correct.
And hopefully some people who might not have the time or the interest to come to the public hearing, but this is a chance for you to give your input just from sitting at home, spending 5 minutes on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer.
So I welcome all feedback on this, because it really helps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, what any changes in the survey this year? Anything you wanted to because we were pretty consistent last year, and just what do you think is a priority?
Yeah. So this year it's going to be very similar questions. We might tweak them to make any improvements on feedback we received from the ones that submitted the survey, because we always want to make things better each year. The only thing that's going to be really different this year is there's going to be a few additional questions related to how would the county like us to respond to the budget needs that the state is facing right now.
Okay.
So the state of Maryland, they presented their budget. The governor presented his budget to the General Assembly in January, and they're going through their process of voting on that budget. But in his budget, there was a $3 billion shortfall. Some of that shortfall to cover it is shifting costs to local governments. So we're going to ask a question, how would they like us to fund those cost shifts? And, just because we want to get your feedback on what you would like to do with that. In total, it's about a $3.5 million cost shift from the state to the counties to support additional teacher pension costs, as well as shifting a greater share of the county's costs, which already is sharing in some costs in the State Department of Assessment and Taxation.
Gotcha. So State of Maryland gets to go first, and State of Maryland says, this is what we've got.
Right.
And then Charles County has to look at it and say, well, if we're getting this amount less than what we had before, we're going to have to compensate that in some way. Is that accurate?
Correct. And keep in mind, this is going through their process. So the numbers we're receiving now is always subject to change.
Right.
Because in the budget might say, let's solve this problem by doing this thing. And the General Assembly is saying, no, we're not doing that, which could mean something could impact us later.
So it's always a fluid process that we I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. We are dependent on the state of Maryland to know what they're doing before we can really know what we're doing, but we are going to assume that what they presented could happen.
Correct.
And we've got to figure out how we can keep a balanced budget around that. Correct.
Because in the budget, there's also, they provide funding directly to the school system. They provide directly to the College of Southern Maryland. So their funding drives how much the funding they'll ask the county for.
Right.
Because so if the state is not able to provide as much funding to them, that creates a higher ask for the county commissioners.
So I always think, and I spend so much time trying to understand your work because it's complicated and it's not something I really find fun, Jake, to be honest. Like this is some hard stuff. It's a lot of math. So I always try to think of like a comparable. So this is kind of my grandfather's always paid for my car insurance and my college, but grandpa might not be able to afford it this year. Mom and dad have to step in and figure out how to cover that cost. Is that a good comparable?
Right.
Okay. So we have to figure out the agencies, the organizations that get funding both from us and the state. If the state's giving less, realistically, we either need to give more or we need to help them figure out how to adapt.
Correct.
Okay.
And what is another question we're asking because of this, it's going to create pressures throughout county government.
If we have to give more, we have to find the more.
Right. Because we're also scheduled to open up a new elementary school, which is an additional cost to the commissioner, to the county that has to be supported. So we're going to ask some specific questions on the schools. Then this new elementary school, how would you like us to pay for that and so forth? Gotcha.
It sounds like it's going to be a bit of a complicated process, but we'll have community engagement every step of the way. I'm going to, in a minute, ask you to talk about where people can go to find information about our budget process. But now that we've talked about State of Maryland, where does somebody go? I mean, that's not your wheelhouse, but where does somebody go to find out about State of Maryland budget stuff?
Yeah, so it would be on their website. They actually put out all their information. It's on the Office of Management and Budget's website.
Okay.
I think I can send you the link
put that in the
you
show
can put
notes,
on there. But there's highlights. There's different volumes. So anyone can go through them and dive through what's in the budgets
and kind of start at that top level, that grandparent level.
Yes,
and to make more sense of the Charles County level.
Correct. And in that document, in one of the documents, it actually shows how much they are going to give to the county, maybe not the county directly, but to the school system and so forth. Like how much of the state budget is going to support county operations?
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And then for our county budget information, I really want to encourage people to go to our Stay Engaged Charles County platform. We'll make sure we put that in the notes, which is that one-stop shop where you can give feedback on all sorts of projects, including the budget.
Correct.
Where else do you want people to be checking out your information?
So right now, because we're still in a lot of budget discussions, we don't really have budget numbers out there on our website. We won't be putting that information out there until we are prepared to present it to the Board of County Commissioners. But once the information is presented to them, it's on our website where you could see what was proposed or what the request is for a certain or enterprise funds or general fund and so forth. And I know I explained that in previous podcasts.
Well, everybody can go back and listen and deep dive into those. Yeah.
Right. And we'll also work with media to just put the actual presentation to the commissioners as its own YouTube video. So anyone can just go to the budget page and say, I just want to go there. Instead of going to the commissioner meeting and watching 7 hours of a meeting, it's just broken down to that 1 hour discussion.
Clip. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Well, Jake, thank you for giving us an overview of what's going on, briefly at the state level, so we understand what's happening at the county level, and also ways that people can give their feedback on how they do want the county to manage these funds. Yeah. So
this year's definitely a more challenging budget than was in the past. So that's why we want to get this information out there for our community feedback, because it really, really does help us make better decisions when it comes to presenting a proposed balanced budget to the commissioners.
Beautiful. Yeah. Jake, thanks so much for being here. Jake Dyer from Fiscal and Administrative Services. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I will make sure all of the information that you heard about today is in the show notes. And as Jake said, you can always go back and listen to or watch other episodes so that you learn more and more about all things going on related to fiscal and budgeting here in Charles County. Please make sure to go online and take this budget survey so that we have your feedback and know how you want to see your money get used in Charles County. And of course, take care, stay safe, and stay engaged.
Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast and want to hear more, search Charles County Government on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. And be sure to like and subscribe. We're also available on YouTube. Search Charles County Commissioners. And stay connected for all county news, information, and programs by visiting www.charlescountymd.gov/stay connected.